All right. Looks like we're live this morning. I see Michael's in here on time. What's going on? Let's see here. Jim, good morning. Joseph Scott, what's up? Good morning. TMB crew, 6'8 Spindrift. Like I said, Michael's in here. La Clove Nostra. So, let me see here. Let me close this out. All right. Those of you that have been watching the stream know we had state playoffs last weekend for my football team, and so we lost on Saturday. So football season is over for me now. Kind of disappointing, but at the same time, excited. Sorry, I got a little bit of a cold on Saturday night, but anyways, excited for the channel. I'm really looking forward to getting back to, getting into the Chalk Talks. There's some options videos that I never really got done making back in September. Doing some regular updates on some of my plays. And, also want to start getting into some day trading explanation videos, and screeners, things like that. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I really enjoy doing this. I just haven't had the time in the last couple months. So, hopefully that'll change now. Looks like fellas in here. Good morning, Sly Dev. What's going on? All right, so wanted to kind of go over a couple of Cuckoo Bird. Is that really Coach B? It's been so long. What's going on? Yeah, so I wanted to go over a couple plays that I'm looking at right now. Start off with Prague because I keep getting a lot of questions about Prague. It did gap up to 317 this morning. When I checked last night, Max Payne actually, as of this morning, is 250. So it is trading above Max Payne right now. When I checked yesterday, it was $3. So it seems like there's probably a lot of bearish options play coming in against this stock, which could help it out. If we look back at the daily chart, it did come down yesterday and kind of touch this 230 level, and or the day before, and start bouncing back up. If it starts ripping, I would say maybe I'll look to kind of open up a position in this again. If it gets up here around 350 level. I know I have this alert set at $4 from a couple weeks ago when I was looking at, or last week when I was looking to enter back in. But if we see it get back above 350, being that Max Payne right now for this week is 250, I would say I'll probably end up becoming a buyer, whether that's intraday or even if it closes somewhere above 3, like 320 in this level here, I'll probably look to jump back in and reestablish my position, hoping that it goes and touches new all-time highs. Ortex data on Prague. Let me see if I can pull this up. I was having some trouble this morning. All right, looks like %, so not too. It's dropped a lot. I want to say that was 40% a while back. Cost to borrow looks like it started the day at 50. It's averaging around 33%, but Prague has a lot of retail interest, so I could see this thing taking off based on that, and even 11% short interest is enough to probably get it moving. And then you mix in, options chain and everything else. I wouldn't be surprised to see this go up and touch all-time highs. But again, I'm not looking to enter Prague until we get probably above this 330-ish level, just to ensure that, it's not going to get walked right back down to that Max Payne level. So that's where I'm at there. I don't have an active position right now, but it did bounce up pretty hot this morning. Um, let's see here. Kyle, what's up? Good morning. Can you look at APSG? Let me write that one down because I got a list here of stuff I wanted to go over. Pete, what's up? Good morning. JSOB says, got to make some dough in the electric business today. Hope everyone has a great day. Yeah, me too. I think the markets are looking pretty hot right now too. SPY closed at 458.79 yesterday. It's currently trading about $6 higher. Alex, what's up? Good morning. Holiday Option, what's up? The game is 2021. We are in overtime. Coach calls for the win. Yeah, so we got that was Prague. I just wanted to do a quick update. No position for me yet. But if it looks like it gets momentum, I'll look to ride that thing up to 7. See how much higher it'll go after that. So definitely one on my watch list. Clove, it touched below 4 yesterday and then bounced right off of that. Came up and grabbed 450 this morning. It's currently trading at 443. The bottom might be in here. Kind of hard to say. The chart still looks pretty bearish, on a daily chart, but if the reversal is in and we start getting some crossovers, man, I just, it's hard to look back and think that, would have been nice to have sold up here and bought back in down here, but I did some adding on. I haven't really added any down on this dip into the 4s. But I think at some point Clove's going to reverse. I know that's another question I get a lot is, what's going on with Clove? Why is the price action like this? I mean, honestly, I wish I had a crystal ball. Everything's been bullish in terms of what the company's been doing. We haven't seen any negative news. I mean, obviously we had the offering and everything, but which had a little bit to do with the price action. And I think also just the overall market's kind of being in a downturn during that time. But when this thing reverses, I still think that the price targets we were talking about, months ago are still in play. I still think the stock should be trading, in the $20 range. And long term, probably in the $100 range. So, I haven't lost any conviction in Clove. I just haven't been talking about it as much recently because it hasn't been doing much but going down. I mean, there's not really much to talk about. But Zeke just said, "What's up, Zeke?" Yeah, I think yesterday was the bottom. I kind of do too. It came down and got below 4. Found a lot of support there, and maybe that was it. Zeke says got shares at 395, 398, and 425. Wow. Yeah, you couldn't have timed that better. Scotty, what's up? Good morning, good morning, Scotty. What's going on? All right. So those were the two. We got Prague. I'm just kind of watching. Clove, obviously, I'm still in. LGVN, I put on here today because, this thing's been moving all over the place. Shot up from 284 up to 45. Kind of looks like maybe it's consolidating. It just bounced off this. I think this is the 20 EMA. And there's no options on this play. It's an extremely low float. If I'm correct, if my memory serves me correctly, I think it's about 5 million float. 2.9 million float. Free float, 12 million outstanding shares. But this is pretty crazy. 84% short interest. And I know I talked about this one last week. That number is just insane. Looks like it's at 85% today. 296% cost to borrow. You know, utilization's high. You know, I think this could be a kind of a crazy squeeze play. I mean, these numbers were like this on this run up to 45. I want to say I played this thing from like 15 or 20-ish up here. I didn't hold to 45. I think I might have got out in the high 30s, but it came back down, and I was almost assuming that, okay, it's over. And then I went and looked yesterday, and it's like the short interest is still there. 84% is ridiculous. I mean, I haven't seen short interest like that since Gamestop in January. I mean, something that high being reported. So, kind of intriguing. There is a lot of room to the downside. I did grab some shares today, but I'm not going crazy with this one. Just putting a little bit in it in case it starts to run again. Because with that type of short interest, if all of a sudden this thing keeps going and it blows past 45, who knows where it'll go next. But again, I'm not YOLOing into it. This is never financial advice, but anytime you're jumping into a play like this, there's also a lot of room to the downside too. But if this thing sees some volume, I wouldn't be shocked to see it, explode past 45 and keep going. The other thing to be, aware of, I guess, is, we're talking 84% short interest, but that's only 1.8 million shares. So when you're seeing the type of volume that we are here, like looks like even yesterday, volume was 13 million. Shorts can cover in one day. So, I mean, if you see some explosive move and all of a sudden this thing goes up to 35, shorts could exit easily. But the other thing that'll happen with that is you'll see FOMO buyers and other people start coming in. And, that's the type of stuff that'll drive it higher, especially with such a small float. So this is one that I am playing as like maybe a small squeeze play. Threw a little bit of money in. But again, nothing crazy because there is a lot of room to the downside. I mean, it's squeezing off of 284 level down here, let's call it $3. But there is a lot of room to the upside too. So definitely something to keep watching. The other one that I really wanted to talk about this morning before we run out of time, we got a lot of time still, but either way, is Grab. Okay, so I've been talking about this one since, probably 2 months now. This was formerly AGC. I don't even know if we could look at the AGC chart on here anymore. No. All right, so this is Grab. It did merge over. Let me see if I can get the daily view on this. As you can see on the day of the merger, it dropped from a high at 1329 down to 813. It is kind of just trade. I think it's at, let me see. Right now it hit 931 this morning, currently trading at 912. This reminds me so much of what we saw with that VIH BKKT merger. Okay, so if we come back here and look at this, I think the merger date was somewhere around 10. Let me zoom in here. And I'll get that out of the way too. The merger date was somewhere in here. And actually, I think it might have been 10/18. Right here. And we saw it drop from $10, which was NAV, down to $8.74. Continue down. Touched 8.10. And then in about 4 days later, we saw this price action where it exploded up to 50. Now, something that should be said there is what happened with this was they had a catalyst, an announcement that a partnership with MasterCard. So there may need to be some sort of catalyst for Grab in order to to have this thing go off. VIH also had a loaded option chain at the time. AGC did as well before it merged over. From what I've seen, the option chain still looks pretty decent on Grab. pull this up real quick. Yeah, I mean, that's quite a lot of open interest here if all of a sudden this thing starts moving. I think max pain right now is right here at $9. So if it could break above there with some sort of catalyst between now and December 17th, it could really move. However, even when I started this play a couple months ago, I know I said on here, I think January and April calls are the way to go if you're going to play options, just because, it doesn't necessarily have to happen in December. But I do think that with some sort of catalyst, we could see a BKKT type move. And I like I said, it kind of reminds me a lot of that VIH BKKT. I remember at the time even being on this show, and the stock fell down in this $8 range, and I got scared. I sold off my shares for a loss and held on to my calls. And then the stock just ripped out of nowhere one day, and my calls printed. If you're not in this play yet, I think getting in down here at $9, $8 is a decent entry point. If you are in already, like I have been, I actually, bought this dip down in this $8 range and just tried to add on because, I do think that, within now and maybe the next month or so, we should see some movement. The one thing that was also kind of concerning then with VIH and BKKT that is kind of playing out the same way is we don't really know what the float size is. And this happens when you merge sometimes. So, all of a sudden we're not seeing estimated short interest. When the merger went through with AGC, it was somewhere around 50%, I believe. Cost to borrow still through the roof at 192. It looks like it's at 260 this morning. It's showing that the short interest is going up. It's showing what the current short interest is, 26 million, but it's not giving us a percentage. And I think it's because, again, there's some discrepancies with the float size after the merger. So, it's showing 14 million shares on loan. I want to say AGC's float was around 40 million. I could be off a little bit, the free float. So that would put it, if it's still there, somewhere in like that 30% range, around there. So anyways, I'm still in grab. I still think this has some potential. Something that, I'm holding some shares and calls on. And I think this is a decent entry point because even if nothing happens, you can't even look anymore. That sucks that they still haven't merged over the chart. Like if we go BKKT right now, we can actually look back and they put the two charts together. This is all VIH chart up until here, and then it became BKKT. But right now you're not getting that with grab yet. So yeah, that's my thoughts on grab. Something I'll be keeping an eye on for a while. So we talked about Prague, Clove a little bit. LGVN I think is a decent short squeeze candidate. It's got the highest short interest I've seen in a long time and no options, which takes away a little bit of the manipulation, but an extremely small float. Talked about grab. So the other one I wanted to bring up, just because I haven't streamed in so long, just kind of an update on where I'm at with my plays. DraftKings, as you can see, this line here hasn't been on my chart in a long time. Go back to the daily, and you still can't even see where I got this from. But if we go back to, let me see, even if I just zoom out to here, I was looking for support here, and it broke through all these. But yesterday it bounced off this line. If we go back to the weekly view and go back, we can see that there was some support back here at this, 27-ish level. So it came down and touched there a couple days ago, held it, had a nice bounce back yesterday, and so I did load back into some DraftKings calls yesterday. I'm probably gonna add on some more today. I really do think that um, with football season and everything else, we might see some a nice reversal here. I mean, this thing is grossly oversold right now. It came down and touched almost like 16 on the RSI on a daily, um, starting to bounce back. But I think that DraftKings, I mean, back here, I was looking for DraftKings to maybe come up and reach 100 when I entered a play back here. Luckily, I did sell up here or roll up and out, which is something that I've talked about on here before. Always taking profits. So um, when I bought DraftKings back here in July, it went on this nice tear. I originally had $65 calls. When we got up to the $60 range, I took profit and put my initial investment into some $85 calls. As you can see, that didn't work out. But that happens, right? So close those out for a loss. Still up since this original. I mean, these ones, I want to say it's been so long, but hit for like 600% or something like that. Put the initial investment back in, pretty much lost that. But now I think we're finding some support. I'm targeting kind of like the $50 strikes, somewhere in there. I think it'll happen before February, but I would if I was buying calls right now, I would say, the further out the better. Maybe looking at April, just because, with the options, the way that things work out, if you were to go, somewhere in like that March, April, May, give yourself that much room, 120 days out, that's 4 months. If all of a sudden you get to 50, you get to 55 by February or sooner, you still have a ton of time premium left, and then you could do the same thing. Sell those, take profit, roll it up, roll it out, that sort of thing. So that's where I'm at with DraftKings. It does look like maybe it's bouncing back. There's just been so much uncertainty in the markets lately, The SPY is ripping right now, as I said earlier, up about $6 off yesterday's close. It's not that we haven't seen this before, where it hits an all-time high, comes down and bounces off this SMA, all-time high, maybe even dips below, and it kind of rides this line, and it got so far extended, and now it came back down and hit it. Okay. I do kind of feel like with this gap up today, we may be off this dip now and ready to rip up to new highs. Kind of like we saw here, or I should say unlike we saw here. Before it came down and hit the last big dip and it fell below, fell through the line that we're looking at here, which is actually the 50 SMA, but it fell through it. Came down and found it as resistance, bounced down again, and then broke through. But most of the other times that the SPY has dipped, it usually finds support somewhere around here. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing right now. So if we could see this thing reverse, I think it'll start pulling a lot of stocks along with it. And hopefully DraftKings will be one of them, along with some of these other plays. So anyways, that's kind of where I'm at there. But there has been a ton of uncertainty here in the market. There's so much other stuff going on with the new COVID variant and Evergrande and all these other things. And it seems like just a little bit of news every day either gets the market moving upwards or downwards. One thing to be aware of, if we do gap up, we are going to leave some gaps behind that would need to potentially be filled. I'm just looking at this gap right here that still has not been filled. But yeah. Some other notable stocks that started moving this morning. AMC. This $30 level I feel like is pretty huge, especially with the options chain too. I think max pain for the week on AMC is 31. It closed yesterday at 28.79. It's currently trading at about 30.04, so it's looking to open up a little bit up here. And GameStop started moving as well. Max pain on GameStop right now is 187.50. It's well below that right now. It's looking to open up at, where are we at? Almost 174, which would be right around here. GameStop also has earnings tomorrow morning. So, typically, as you can see, GameStop came down, touched 164. It's up to about 174 right now, right in that area. Not a lot of volume, but GameStop hasn't had volume for a while. So, with earnings, Zeke just brought up a good point too. GME, AMC, and Clove all have similar charts. And, a lot of once those stocks get labeled memes, it just seems like they kind of get tied into the same algorithms and move together. The last big move with Clove, followed a big move by AMC and then GME and then Clove. They kind of went in succession. So we are starting to see some movement. GameStop does have earnings tomorrow. The last couple times we saw earnings, just zoom in here. It did take a nasty drop. This is going back to March. It took a nasty drop down from, where were we? Somewhere around 200 down to 119 before bouncing off and kind of trading sideways. And then again, back in June earnings, we had a huge run up leading up to the earnings where it touched 350 and then fell down hard to 208 post earnings. Now the last earnings in September, it actually started to reverse. It came down and touched 177 before rolling up to 217. So this is another thing to note. The fourth earnings call after the June squeeze, or the January squeeze, the big squeeze up to 483, when GameStop basically started talking about pivoting and all that kind of stuff. So really excited to see what happens. I'm not expecting too much guidance. They haven't given any thus yet, on any of these earnings calls. But there's been a lot of speculation about what they're doing. Maybe if they start talking about anything that can get the stock moving, we'll see what happens. But yeah, so I'm excited about GameStop. I actually grabbed some AMC and GME calls yesterday. Just thinking that maybe we'll see a little bit of movement here in the next couple weeks. So let me catch up with the chat. Present Minds, what's up? JJ said their DraftKings, ouch. Yeah, it's been crazy. Fluffer, what's up? Good morning. Let's go. So we got the markets are looking good right now. Actually, the SPY looks like maybe it's starting to come down a little bit. It did touch 465, down to 464.32 right now. Just looking around some of the other names. Not really much doing. I haven't checked max pain for Clove. I was shocked to see how much Prague had changed overnight. Looks like Clove's max pain for the week is 450. Currently trading at 443. So the other thing though with Clove is like, and I've been saying this for, I feel like months. I feel like a broken record at this point. But with Clove, we where we at? Option statistics. The IV is 104%. That's actually up from where it was. I think it was at like 80 or 90 a couple weeks ago. But I don't really see that the incentive is there to pin this thing to max pain. There's so many other stocks out here with ridiculous IV that it. I don't see why market makers would continue to try to pin this thing. So who knows? I always say like max pain's it's a thing until it's not. Not every stock gets pinned to max pain. Hopefully this is the reversal on Clove we've been waiting for. Thomas O'Connell, what's up? Good morning. Shrimply McPibs, what's up? Michael says a lot of SPACs have been getting beat up. Yeah. I think that's part of it too. It's just crazy with Clove because it's like, yeah, it was a SPAC. And so it's got that going for it, I guess, in a negative way. That a lot of these SPACs have been getting attacked. I feel like a lot of Chamath SPACs have been getting attacked this year, going all the way back to January. And then the way the market's been recently and everything else. And then now, once it got kind of tied in as being a meme stock, I'm talking Clove specifically, it's like whenever the meme stocks get tanked, Clove goes with it. But when they go back up, it seems like Clove doesn't go back up with it, at least not recently. So there'll be a reversal at some point. I'm confident in that. I mean, we haven't seen really anything negative in terms of the company. I mean, we really have not. That last earnings call I thought was amazing. They talked about operating at near profitability. And they've always kind of set the bar, or not really set the bar. I guess they've always, under promised and over delivered. So they've never really like put too much out there, like, oh, we're gonna do this, and then not reach that. They've always set the bar low and exceeded it well, I guess is what I'm getting at. And I thought that the guidance that they gave in that last earnings call was bullish enough for the stock. And yeah, we'll just have to see what happens. I know that they put something out recently saying that they could not talk about the sorry, I'm just trying to pull something up real quick. They couldn't talk about the offering. They had a quiet period. And they just said recently that they're planning on holding an AMA and Ask Me Anything following the quiet period. So hopefully we'll be able to hear something soon regarding, why they did the offering. And I'm hoping that it's, because they're doing something, rather bullish related to the stock, something related to growth, maybe something related, maybe they needed capital for the AI side or whatever it may be. They have their hands in so many things right now. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing what that is. Michael says it seems like there's something personal against Clove. Yeah. Well, you have these major players, right? In the healthcare industry, that have been doing this for so long, and we've talked about this. I almost said for years, but it feels that way. We've been talking about this for so long. It's like, they really have the opportunity to be a disruptor in that industry, and I think that threatens people. And so you have people that don't want to see them succeed on that side of it. But then on the other side, there's the whole SPAC thing with Chamath and everything else. So, yeah, I think it's personal for some. I think that, even, Chamath got involved in the GameStop thing, back in January. He made some money off it. he was vocal about it. He put out some tweets that kind of ignited a rally in GME back in January, and that could even be why maybe it's personal against him. So, but there's so many, aspects to this, or I guess theories as to why, but you know, I don't know. I think we'll find out soon enough. At some point, I think we'll look back at this time and say, man, I'm glad we held. That being said, um, this is probably one of my worst trades ever. Um, and what I mean by that is, I've always been a trader, not necessarily an investor, and I've talked about this a lot. And when the chart is bearish, it's time to exit. And then you can always jump back in, and that's always been the mindset that I've had. Unfortunately, I didn't play this stock that way, and yeah, I mean it would have been nice to get out at 12.50, and maybe jump back in somewhere around 9. Um, you know, or even be waiting still for that entry point. But it is what it is. My conviction in the stock hasn't changed. So, where were we at? I think I had GameStop up here. Risky Seed says, "What do you think about CFVI?" Let me check it out. I know that was I think that was one of the plays that came up. Was it last week? Trying to refresh my memory on this one. I'm just looking at the news articles on this one. You got to refresh my memory. I got to tell you guys the truth. I've been, with football season and everything, and like I said, we traveled last week to Bakersfield, about a 4.5-hour drive. I wasn't looking at stocks at all on Friday. Thursday was kind of a blur. I was packing, getting stuff ready, finishing things up at school. So I really feel like I've been kind of out of it the last 4 or 5 days. But anyone who's joining now, unfortunately, my football season is over, but I'm excited to kind of get back into creating content for the channel. I really enjoyed that over the summer and last spring when I started the channel, and I'm looking forward to adding on to it. Sacktown's finest, what's up? Haven't seen you in a while. Michael says he's buying more, doing wonders for his cost average. I like it. Michelle, what's up? Good morning. All right. So, anyone who's just kind of tuned in late, I went over this earlier on in the video, kind of where I'm at with Prague. I did exit a while back, I think like 2 weeks ago almost. We talked about it here on the show when it looked like it was falling below max pain. And it is getting pretty interesting right now as max pain is now 250 and Prague is trading at 295 after running 20% yesterday. I think if it gets kind of in like the 320 range, I'll probably jump back in hopes that it'll run up to, let me pull this up. If it kind of gets in this range, closes around here, that far away from max pain, I'll probably jump back in hopes that we see another rally to a new high. And I'm actually going to move my alert down there. There we go. So, Michael says, "Are you doing any Clove level DD on any other companies?" I haven't right now. I've been too busy. But Prague was a big play that I was in. I really, one thing like with football season and everything like that, I kind of, just really got burnt for time, that in school. But now that I've kind of got the time, I really wish I would have had the time to make some videos on prog because I didn't catch it until around here. But there was still a lot of movement in there. That was a nice play, and I think that it may still be coming back, but I'm gonna kind of wait and see on that one. The other stock that I am kind of playing right now that we talked about was Grab. I think that this one has the potential to be like a VIH BKKT. That was another one that I played a couple months ago. Kind of be watching right now and see how that plays out. But yeah, I mean, to answer your question, Michael, I think I will. As we continue to move forward, and I kind of find some plays that I think look promising, and have some major potential, I'll probably be looking to jump back in some other stuff and start covering some other things. Risky Seed says, let's get some likes to welcome back, Coach. Thomas says, any Ortex update? No, don't worry about asking. Let me pull it up. See. I really have this strange feeling about GameStop and AMC right now, though. Based off nothing. Just one of those things. I feel like, like I said, I bought some calls yesterday, somewhere around here. Didn't get it on the dip, but I don't think it matters. If it moves, it moves, and they'll print. If not, it is what it is. All right, here we go with Clove. Looks like we're looking at about 10.7% short interest. Cost to borrows, nothing. Utilization still, pretty low. Yeah, I just think that the increase in float size has really kind of diminished the short squeeze potential for this. Now, I say that, and at the same time, 10% short interest is still high. I mean, that's extremely high for normal stocks. And then there's also the hidden short interest that gets talked about, but there's no way of proving. I've heard some other people talk about it, recently, and I think that there could be something there. That there could still be some hidden short interest in Clove, especially with the price action that we've been seeing over the last 4 months or so. And I think, I believe that there's a ton of hidden short interest in GameStop. I really do. And so I think if you prescribe to that notion, then yeah, that could be sitting there in Clove too, especially since it's been wrapped into that kind of meme basket, so to speak, and the meme algorithms and everything else. So just point of reference, here's GameStop. Very similar numbers, 11% short interest, cost to borrow is lower, utilization's, half. So, again, I think, and I still think GameStop is probably the biggest squeeze play right now. Even the most recent investigation turned up that a lot of those shorts from back in January never really covered. So, but who knows, right? One of the things that I like about GameStop, and Clove for that matter, is I really truly believe that these companies can be trading at these levels on their own merit. I guess I should say that in two parts. GameStop, I bought in around $40 the second time around, and so I think that at some point the company will be worth 173, 200, 300, 400 on its own merit. It's a relatively small float. When you look at the industry that they're in and the way they're pivoting the company, I could see that, and that's why I've continued to hold. Clove, on the other hand, I think it's worth way more than what it's trading at right now. And that's why I continue to hold. So with either one of these, even if they don't squeeze, I still see them as sound investments. but I've never been like really much of an investor. I've always been more of a trader. So this year has been kind of different for me, so to speak, with holding through all this volatility with GameStop, with Clove. Where we at right now? 6:15. So just looking around, it does look like the SPY is starting to come down. I mean, that's a huge gap. It's not coming down much, but after touching way up here, starting to fill that gap down. But the SPY doesn't always fill those gaps. You know, if we go back and look at the daily chart, when it starts ripping, it rips. I'd love to see this thing move today. The worst thing that could probably happen is if all of a sudden at the open it starts coming down and trying to fill this gap all the way down, because then you're going to see the little gains that we're seeing in pre-market on some of these stocks diminish and probably see them go even lower. So not looking forward to seeing that. I'd love to see the SPY just start ripping today with the overall markets. Yeah. All right. Sorry, I'm just looking at some of I got some orders preset to fill at market open. Does look like AMC is really trying to hold that $30 level. Trading right at it right now. All right, Scotty, you have a great day. On that note, I'm probably going to sign off too. Go get ready for work and come back and catch the opening bell and be able to trade a little bit before we get started. But thank you, everybody, for joining. I am looking forward to continuing moving forward, trying to get the stream going every day again, at least 3 days a week. It has been getting harder to wake up early. But for me, it's like in order to get on here and start streaming at 5, I got to get up at 4. And yeah, sometimes that comes a little too early. But I'm also looking forward to adding some new content to the channel now that football season's over. So really looking forward to that. Sorry I haven't been doing as much recently. Really miss everybody. But thank you, everyone, for joining. I really appreciate it. Have a great day, and hope to see you guys tomorrow.